From the Convergence Studio in the School of Communication, this is Loyola News Chicago.
Hello and welcome to Loyola News Chicago. I'm Kendall Pectus.
And I'm Angela Rideout. There are major changes in the university administration this week. Both the head of student development, Robert Kelly, and athletic director, Grace Calhoun, have resigned.
We begin with the departure of Dr. Kelly and his achievements at Loyola. The news of Kelly's resignation was announced in an email from Provost John Pellicero, who said Kelly is pursuing opportunities outside the university. Bridget Sheeran reports Kelly's legacy will last long after he's gone.
Robert Kelly came to Loyola in 2009 when he was named Vice President for Student Development. One of the things Kelly did here was work closely with a number of student groups to promote diversity on campus. Loyola senior Antoinette Isama said she got to work closely with Kelly during her time as president of the African Student Alliance. She says Kelly's impact on students came from the support he gave them.
He has really been involved in knowing what we're doing, if we need help with anything, and just trying to be that support that we wouldn't have otherwise on campus.
The Damon Student Center was the centerpiece of the Reimagine campaign, which was a development project that reshaped Loyola's campus. Kelly helped launch the campaign. The Norville Athletic Center was another part of that design. School of Communication Dean Don Hyder says Kelly's impact can be felt across campus.
I think he's done some good work here. I think he came in and accomplished a number of things.
One of the things Kelly accomplished was creating the Maroon and Gold Society. He also worked extensively with other student groups across campus. Isama believes that is where his absence is going to be felt most.
And even just introducing students to different resources on campus that they need to know to be able to have their Loyola experience be fruitful in a way. So I think students that have worked with him should at least try to continue that, especially those seniors that are leaving with him.
But Dean Hyder believes that Kelly's absence will be felt more behind the scenes than in students' daily lives.
There's a lot of professionals here working to make students' experience excellent every day. And so one change in that oftentimes doesn't have that significant an impact.
Kelly hasn't made an announcement about what's next for him yet, but the impact of his short time at Loyola can be felt across campus. Bridget Sheeran, Loyola News Chicago.
Dr. Kelly's resignation was effective starting March 24th. In the interim, Jay Neufeld will serve as Dean of Students and Vice President of Student Development. The Provost said in his email that a national search for a permanent replacement will begin immediately.
Kelly isn't the only member of the administration leaving Loyola. Athletic Director Grace Calhoun announced that she will resign this May and take a similar position at the University of Pennsylvania. The resignation comes with 2 years left on her 5-year contract. Calhoun is best known for a high-profile hiring of WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops as the women's basketball coach, as well as facilitating Loyola's move to Missouri Valley Conference. At a news conference on the Penn campus Monday, the Ivy League grad expressed her excitement for what lies ahead.
I can and will promise a can-do attitude and a tireless work ethic that will serve the student athletes, coaches, staff, alumni, and the broader Penn community that you have so graciously afforded me the opportunity to serve.
We tried contacting Calhoun, has not delivered a public comment here in Chicago. The athletic department will say only that it will immediately begin a national search for a professor. Later in sports, we'll see why this move comes as a surprise for some longtime watchers of Loyola athletics.
Voting for Loyola's USGA elections are now underway. Sophomores Flavio Bravo and Michael Fasulo are running against juniors Philip John Puzo and Samantha Juarez on the presidential and vice presidential tickets. One of Bravo's main goals is to increase opportunities for students to be involved in administration decisions. He hopes to bring back a State of the Students address as well as improve relationships between Loyola and the Edgewater and Rogers Park community by creating a Chief Community Relations Officer. Vice presidential candidate Samantha Juarez says one of the main focuses of her campaign with presidential candidate Philip John Puzo is increasing diversity at Loyola. The candidates hope to create a new position called Chief Diversity Officer, which would be a point person to create a more diverse campus community.
The new BYOB, or Bring Your Own Bag project, is
Juarez says they also hope to work with the administration on the issue of gay marriages on campus, as well as helping undocumented students. Students can vote for their candidates today through their Loyola email, along with a new environmental policy.
Loyolans are being asked to vote on a new environmental project that will reduce the use of plastic bags on campus. Gabby DeMargin has more.
The new BYOB, or Bring Your Own Bag project, is encouraging the use of reusable bags as a part of the university's overall goal towards sustainability. We asked students at the downtown campus what they thought about this proposal.
There's so many other things that we can be investing our time into at this point that plastic bags are probably like way low on that list, and it's just like the water bottle ban. It really doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me.
Even though Loyola is a very eco-friendly school, there's not much of an alternative to plastic bags. You know, everybody uses them and they're used every day. They're common household items.
I think universities are doing their best to take a lot of these pro-environmental measures, and this sounds like one. So absolutely, sure, I could see this passing, yeah.
One. Mayor Rahm Emanuel has supported a citywide initiative to minimize plastic bag use, and Loyola doesn't seem too far behind. Gabby DeMargin, Loyola News, Chicago.
The Bring Your Own Bag voting results will be released Friday. If students agree to the project, the Student Environmental Alliance will present the ideas to the university administration. Crews are still working to clean up the L train that derailed at the O'Hare Blue Line stop. The crash reportedly caused $6 million in damages to the station. At least 2 lawsuits have already been filed for $50,000. The crash happened at 2:52 in the morning earlier this week. Reports say the driver dozed off as the train was approaching the station. The train then jumped off the tracks and climbed up a good portion of the escalator, injuring 35 people. The NTSB ruled that the train's emergency brakes had been activated, but it's not yet clear why they failed to prevent the train from leaving the tracks. Until the station reopens, buses will continue to take CTA passengers from O'Hare to the Rosemont stop.
Chicago drivers now have something besides the potholes to complain about. Money blog NerdWallet ranks our city's parking the first of the worst. High fees and motor vehicle thefts per capita is why parking in Chicago is worse than anywhere else in the country. Spots are limited on streets surrounding popular attractions like Michigan Avenue. Kristen Jones reports more.
Although Chicago was voted the worst city to park in the United States, it isn't the most expensive daily on average. Honolulu is actually $40 a day to park, Chicago around $30, and Idaho is as low as $12.
It's really expensive. The government just wants to rip us off. For street side, I feel like it's like $2 every 30 minutes.
Parking prices increased in 2009 when the city started using private company Chicago Parking Meters, LLC. But last summer, the company stopped charging drivers to park in neighborhoods on Sunday. Oil and gas company BP is making headlines for malfunction at its Indiana refinery. Nearly 500 gallons of oil spilled into Lake Michigan, just a few miles away from Chicago city limits. BP representatives say they're still working to collect and remove the crude oil. U.S. officials say the oil spill in Lake Michigan did not jeopardize wildlife or human health, but this isn't the first time the London-based company has made news for an accident. It was also responsible for a huge Gulf oil spill in April 2010.
A mumps outbreak is affecting students at Ohio State. Since Monday, there have been 45 cases of mumps at Ohio State and 18 cases among community members in Columbus. So far, there haven't been any mumps cases at Loyola this year. To ensure it stays that way, the Wellness Center offers some tips. 2 vaccinations are key. The first is at the age of 1 and the second is between the ages of 4 and 6. Also, remember your manners. Cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze, and don't forget to wash your hands. Wellness Center Director Joan Holden says the vaccine will likely keep you from getting the mumps.
It cuts down on outbreaks when you have vaccinations conducted in a pool of people. So even though people can get vaccinated, you can still be susceptible to the disease, but it's not very common.
Ohio State isn't the only state with the mumps outbreak lately. Fordham University in New York had one recently as well.
Loyola students can go ball to raise money for cancer. The 9th annual St. Baldricks fundraiser is coming to Loyola on April 3rd. This video is from the St. Baldricks event in 2011. Students are encouraged to attend, volunteer, and even shave their heads to help raise money for children's cancer. Volunteers want to raise $30,000 this year. They've currently raised almost $14,000. Students interested in volunteering should visit stbaldricks.org.
Coming up on Loyola News, what are a group of Loyolans dishing about Pope Francis?
And next in sports, we try and make sense of Dr. Calhoun's sudden departure with an insider's perspective.
Hey Luis, did you know that your Elmo's plan?
Your plan?
Yeah, Elmo's mommy said that if Elmo is too sick to go to school, the plan is that Elmo stays with Luis and Maria.
Oh yes, we have that plan all in place.
Great!
You never know when your child will be too sick to go to school. So have a plan ready so your child can stay home and get healthy.
Luis is the man, because he's almost planned. The man, because he's almost planned.
To learn more about preventing flu, visit flu.gov.
Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Maybe you should go to your shelter and get a mature dog who will make your blues disappear. How's that for tricks? I got picked. Wow.
Major developments at Northwestern could drastically change the landscape of collegiate athletics. The National Labor Relations Board of Chicago has ruled that members of Northwestern's football team are considered employees of the university. Therefore, the NLRB has ruled that the team can legally unionize, setting a precedent for universities across the country. The athletes are forming a union to seek better medical coverage, concussion testing, 4-year scholarships, and possible salaries. Northwestern released a statement saying they plan to appeal the ruling, but the appeal process may take years to reach a final decision.
And Joe, this surely wasn't a move anyone could have predicted.
Yeah, that's definitely right, Kendall. From Grace Calhoun's perspective, this must seem like the opportunity of a lifetime. The former track and field athlete from Brown got an opportunity to return to the Ivy League, return to her roots on the East Coast, not far from where she grew up in upstate New York. But for everyone else, including those within the Loyola Athletic Department, the question is, why now? Almost as soon as she came in and drastically shook up the department with more than 40 new hires, she's on her way out with little warning. Former Loyola Phoenix sports editor Brendan Bond covered Calhoun's arrival and was just as confused as the rest of us when hearing of her departure.
It's really soon. I mean, she was 3 years on the job, and she had just finished hiring a bunch of new coaches, pretty much cleaning house when she got here and getting her people in place, and to kind of leave before the job's finished was a little surprising.
Bond doesn't believe her predecessor will come from inside the athletic department, but he hopes whoever it is will be named promptly.
I kind of feel bad for the athletic department, for the athletes to have the turnover 3 years ago and now have the turnover again to go through. So I hope the administration finds somebody quickly, just to, because a turnover like that is really tough on the whole department.
Bond believes Calhoun's biggest pitfall was failing to promote student involvement and attendance at games, and that should be the new director's first order of business. As for the athletic department, they've told us that more details will be coming through in the following week, so we'll be sure to deliver that information as it becomes available. You can rest assured that men's volleyball isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The nation's top dogs were looking to pull in their third win in 5 days as they hosted St. Francis last Saturday. 3 starters got the night off to rest up for the stretch run, but those who stayed on the floor didn't skip a beat. Cody Caldwell notched 14 more kills en route to MIVA Offensive Player of the Week honors. The Ramblers coast to a straight set victory. Coach Shane Davis praised his team's version of the bench mob. Make that 17 straight wins and counting for the Ramblers. They're creeping up on that program record of 21 straight set back in 2005. They'll have 2 shots to add to that total this week. Away from campus, defensive ends keep playing musical chairs in the NFC North. First, Julius Peppers heads to Green Bay, so Chicago Bears GM Phil Emery countered by going to Jared's. The team scooped up Jared Allen from the Vikings on a 4-year deal worth a guaranteed $15.5 million. The 32-year-old ranks 12th all-time with 128.5 career sacks. The Bears can use all the defensive help they can get after ranking dead last in the league versus the run last season. Just stay healthy. And wrapping up back here on campus, take a look at Loyola Softball Park. Looks a little more like the frozen tundra. The Ramblers have already had 8 games postponed or canceled thanks to Mother Nature, but head coach Missy Becerris isn't letting it affect her and the team.
You know, Mother Nature's going to do her own thing. Being a school in Chicago, this is kind of what we expect. You know, I know it's cold every spring. I think this year is just a little bit longer, but you know, the girls know they're all local kids. This is our hometown environment, so you know, we would like to use it to our advantage.
Yeah, and Mother Nature's also doing her best to thaw out that field, as I found out when I tried to take a step on that diamond. Let's just say I need a new pair of shoes. But they're hoping that all that's dried up by the time they have to host Drake this Saturday for a doubleheader. And that's all for sports.
It's a lot for sports. Thanks, Joe.
It's a busy week.
USGA President Pedro Guerrera has vetoed a proposal to cut ties from certain companies benefiting from the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The Phoenix reports corporations profit from well-documented human rights abuses by the Israeli government. The USGA voted 26-2 for Loyola to divest from these organizations earlier this week. Despite Guerrero's veto, Loyola is the first Catholic institution with students who have initiated a divestment issue.
Pope Francis is receiving a special visit from President Barack Obama this week to discuss the issues of poverty and social justice. Loyola students recently dished to NBC's Ann Thompson about why they think Pope Francis is a good example of faith in action.
In one short year, Pope Francis has changed the conversation about the Catholic Church. At Loyola University Chicago, they talk about him in theology and business classes.
So what did your marketing class think of Pope Francis' brand management?
Everyone just thinks it's great. They all agreed that the Pope is certainly changing the image of the church.
He gets high marks from these student faith leaders who think of Francis as one of theirs, because the Pope from Argentina is a Jesuit, like the priests who run their school.
He does a very good job of representing our generation or the community that I have here at Loyola. He's a really perfect face for faith in action.
In our generation, people can identify with him because he just talks about how to love each other.
Jorge Venta was one of 3 million people on Rio's Copacabana beach for the Pope's World Youth Day Mass.
He gets down to the level of the people and just talks to them like normal words, not look up in the dictionary or stuff,
A message he delivers in Italian or his native Spanish.
Just to be able to hear him speak Spanish and for my mom to understand it, for my family to understand it, it's just so important to me.
Being a gay Catholic, what he says about gays and lesbians, is it's not changing what the Catholic Church has to say, but it is changing the voice of how it is said.
They love that this Pope prefers the bus to a limo, carries his own briefcase, will stop for a selfie, and laughs at himself. He is, they say, just like us.
Do you like the fact that he doesn't like the bling?
I love it.
The red shoes are a little much.
You like the brown ones better?
Yeah, I kind of dig them. I think that the voice of the Pope is a really great voice. But I think the church is us. He's just like us.
Loyola is hosting a symposium to mark the first year of Pope Francis this week. There are several discussion segments as well as a Q&A with all the speakers from throughout the day.
Coming up in our Loyola News Extra, 35,000 moviegoers are heading to a theater near you. But for what?
And a grandma finds a new way to get jiggy with it when we come back.
Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it.
hummus. 多少钱一碗？一碗 just 一碗。我和你 I'll pay you money. I've got this money here. Please take the money, please. Let me see.
把他带走。
Good looking out.
Lauren Lopez is here with today's Loyola News Extra. Oh, I hear Chicago's a pretty big place for films right now.
Absolutely. There are a ton of festivals throughout the year here in Chicago, from Filipino to African and Israeli. But now, it's time for the Chicago Latino Film Festival to take center stage. The two-week festival is now in its 30th year and is hosted every April by the International Latino Cultural Center. It's grown from 14 films in 1985 to more than 100 feature and short films now screened for an audience of 35,000. The festival features films from all over Latin America, Spain, and Portugal, as well as the United States. Loyola professor Aaron Greer says there are many perks to attending, besides getting to see some great films before everyone else does.
At film festivals, you get an opportunity often to hear directly from the filmmakers, to go to workshops, to go to panels, to have Q&As with actors. So there's all kinds of, it's a more interactive viewing experience than you get just watching your movie at home or just going to a movie theater when once the credits roll, you're done.
The festival runs from April 3rd through the 17th, mostly at the AMC River East 21 Theater near Navy Pier. For more information about the festival, including the screening schedule, go to ChicagoLatinoFilmFestival.org. The festival kicks off with a Night of Argentina Gala on April 3rd, complete with a movie screening and reception after. So that sounds like it should be a really wonderful time.
Thanks, Lauren.
If you're a fan of music festivals, you might have heard that Lollapalooza recently announced its lineup for this summer. At $225 per ticket, early bird 3-day passes sold out within minutes after they went on sale. And now, the VIP and general admission tickets are gone too. More than 130 musical acts will perform in Grant Park during the first 3 days of August at this year's festival. Performers will include Lorde, Outkast, and Foster the People.
Social networking is typically associated with the younger generations, but an 80-year-old woman really puts the gram in Instagram. Over 400,000 people follow Grandma Betty, who posts silly photos and other videos. Since she is dying of lung cancer, her grandson thought Instagram could document her fun-loving spirit. Grandma Betty appears on TV and has her own P.O. box because all of her fan mail she receives. Her famous blue tongue shot has even inspired her own logo. Instagram now has over 200 million users. Any one of them, and even you, can follow Grandma Betty at Grandma Betty 33.
Guess who I'm gonna go follow when I get home today?
Might actually do that.
Grandma Betty. Grandma sounds like she's worth following more than anyone, to be honest.
She does.
Yeah,
She deserves a follow from all of us.
400,000 followers. One day. One day all of us will get there.
We'll be that popular. And that is our news for today. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope you are enjoying the spring weather.
We'll be back next week with another edition of Loyola News Chicago. Have a good day.